Hey everybody, welcome back. And for this video, I'll be talking about my top 20 favorite films of all time. And as with the previous list, I'll be ranking them in order, although the actual listing is more or less negotiable. And I'll just be speaking real quickly about each movie as we go down the list. Number 20 is Springtime in a Small Town, a film by the great Tian Zhang in his directorial return to the cinema after a long hiatus. It's the story of a love triangle between longtime acquaintances and is the remake of an old Chinese classic film. And as far as movie remakes go, this truly ranks among the very best. Number 19 is Baran, a film highlighting Afghan refugee workers in Iran. Now, I enjoy most of Majid Majidi's work, but this one stood out for me the most. When a young construction worker discovers the identity of the title character, he goes through great lengths to protect her. I think this movie is really about what measures we go through for people we care about. Number 18 is the 1939 French film Le Jour se lève, which is about a man who, after committing a murder, barricades himself in an apartment room and then begins recalling the events which led up to that point. I think it was way ahead of its time. There's few films which rival it in terms of storytelling technique, and not even modern movie making holds a candle to it. Number 17 is Mike Nichols' The Graduate, an American classic in every sense of the word. Dustin Hoffman as Benjamin Braddock, being a recent college grad, is lost over what to do next in life, suddenly starts an affair with the family friend's wife, but soon regains his focus after falling for her daughter. The songs provided by Simon and Garfunkel are legendary. Number 16 is Chungking Express, a movie which helped me fall in love with movies again during a certain period of my life. I don't think many works do much justice on the topic of lovesickness as well as this one does. I loved the cast, the cinematography, and how Hong Kong was, as a whole, was portrayed. I owe this film a great deal of gratitude. Number 15 is Evil Dead 2, the sequel to the breakthrough cult original, although story-wise it stands independently on its own. Not only is it a fantastic horror picture, but also cleverly injects bouts of humor and comedy in the midst of all the blood and gore. It had a profound cinematic influence on me, as it puts on a clinic on how to put a good film together. Number 14 is Godzilla 2000, and as a lifelong fan of the greatest movie monster of all time, this was my favorite. Capitalizing on the Y2K hysteria at the time, I enjoyed how the premise of this film centered around, essentially, information warfare, and Godzilla saving mankind from an alien threat. It's just a fun movie overall, and I also happen to think this had the best Godzilla suit ever. Number 13 needs no real introduction. It's the film adaptation of Mario Puzo's The Godfather, a story of struggle, survival, and succession from the unlikeliest of heirs to a mafia family. It's one of the few films in history I could think of that I consider to be perfectly casted, perfectly scripted, and perfectly scored. There will never be another film like it. Number 12 is Yi Yi, Edward Yang's final film and his magnum opus. It's another story about a family, but one set in modern Taipei, with each family member going through his or her own trials and tribulations as they go through experiences of love, work, and relationships, beautifully shot with a narrative so well told and controlled. It's the movie that made me want to go to Taipei. Number 11 is Dark City, a masterful science fiction masterpiece with neo-noir overtones. Taking place in an experimental city built upon people's stolen memories, we follow an amnesiac man and his quest to uncover the truth. When I saw that Roger Ebert placed it at the top of his Best Films of 1998 list, I knew it had to be something special and one of a kind. And it was. Number 10 is Kundun, a movie detailing the life of the Dalai Lama from his childhood to his escape into exile. I admired this movie for being such a departure for director Martin Scorsese, along with the fact that, impressively, no professional actors were used. And on top of that, Philip Glass's soundtrack was one I instantly, fell in love with and still am to this day. Number 9 is Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, perhaps the best of all stop-motion animation and is also among the best musicals ever. The character Jack Skellington becomes weary of his own culture and became enamored with another, adopting it for himself, but with disastrous results. I love the theme and the imagination that went behind it. I replay this movie every holiday season. Number 8 is Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick, his very last film. A marriage between a husband and wife is on the rocks after a simple conversation, which leads to both of them going off in their own sexual odysseys, eventually reconciling at the end. Kubrick stated that he believed this was his greatest contribution to the cinema, and I have to agree with him. Number 7 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the live-action adaptation of the smash hit comics and cartoon series. Aside from seeing the turtles come to life with amazing suits, animatronics, and martial arts action, I found this movie was really about fatherhood, especially the differences between Splinter and Shredder and their influence over a city's youth. I'll always adore this one. Number 6 is the David Lean all-time favorite, Brief Encounter, about two married strangers who meet at a railway stop by chance and form an intimate relationship that lasts all too briefly, as the title suggests. Upon realizing they cannot and should not continue their affair, I enjoyed seeing this couple's story develop over time as Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2 played in the background. Number 5 is Spirited Away, a wonderful take on the Alice in Wonderland dynamic. We follow a 10-year-old girl while she traverses through a world of spirits to rescue her parents who've been turned into pigs, finding help along the way and even courage within herself. I deeply connected with this film as it really represented what adapting to an unknown place can be like. Number 4 is Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, perhaps the most influential science fiction film of all time. I'll never stop being fascinated by its futuristic environments and all its dystopian elements, along with the iconic music by Vangelis. I always wanted to be carried off into its world every time I put the film on, and I'll just never forget the impression it had on me. Number 3 is Goodbye Dragon Inn, and I remember going through the DVD aisle and coming across this slow-moving film with its mysterious-looking cover art. Little did I know buying it would change my life, with its sad theme of disappearance concerning a movie theater about to close its doors for the last time. It's a movie featuring a movie for people who just love movies. Number 2 is Babe, Pig in the City. While being more slapstick, strange, and at times disturbingly scary compared to its beloved predecessor, Pig in the City was an example of risks taken with rewarding results. Babe is on a rescue mission to save the farm and forms a charming camaraderie with a colorful host of urban animals to do so. Sweet films are made of this. And number 1 is Last Life in the Universe, about two individuals living mundane lives in Bangkok who cross paths after witnessing a fatal traffic accident. As a trilingual narrative, to this day, I'm still haunted by this movie's imagery and ever-surreal aura. It whisks me away into a place that feels like it had come down from a dream. Whenever I feel like escaping, I always put this one on. And that's it, my top 20 favorite films of all time. And if you wish to share what your top films of all time are, whether it be top 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, well, post a link or write down in the comments below. And until then, take care.